he told me, "Are you crazy? You better be starting a business with this machine." That was the first time I ever thought about starting my business.
How did a Tony Robbins seminar inspire Joyce Abady to manufacture green juices and ultimately open up award-winning vegan restaurants by mistake?
Growing up,
Everything was about food.
There was a strong emphasis on food, but not just food and hospitality, because
Yeah.
it was serving people.
Yeah, it was always, it's funny, yeah, it was always about serving people. It was always about making people feel happy. All the time. Everything started from my first Tony Robbins experience, really. At the time, I was separated from my husband. I was very young. I was only 23 or 24. I was living in my parents' house. I had one kid. And I had no idea what I liked, what I was good at.
Think back, what did you feel when you were walking away from there you had that you didn't have before?
Hope. For me, it was just this overwhelming experience that I have the control to change anything that I don't like. For me, I was so inspired. I needed to know more. I started educating myself on what were the best types of food, right, to eat, to keep your body clean, for you to thrive. It was super important to go cold pressed. At the time, Juice Press was having its big debut, and they were all the craze, and I wanted to be just like them. And they were they gave so much information that I felt like I was going to school just by spending time on their website. They were amazing. I felt like I wasn't doing justice, that people didn't know this trick, this secret. Like, just drink one green juice a day. Start your morning with it and your whole life will change. Well, anyway, lead by example, right? So I would go into the city and get all these juices, and I was hooked.
So you're
every
drinking
day.
these green
I'm
juice
drinking
press
these
drinks
juices every day, all day long. I'm learning about juice cleanses. I'm learning about cleaning the body. I am so inspired. At the same time, my life is drastically changing. The way I feel, the way that I look, everything was changing, right? So it was working. And it was frustrating that I didn't feel like I could get juice anywhere around the area. And I felt like I needed to do something about it. I just wanted to be like a health guru. And I needed a juicer in my house, and I needed to have a cold press juicer. And then you learn about it, and then even on Juice Press, they're telling you about Norman Walker and the Norwalk juicer, and there's nothing like it. And you're reading about it for years and years and years, and that nothing, you need the Norwalk. Mind you, the Norwalk's a few $1,000s, and it's so tedious and so hard to make juice. I cannot even begin to tell you how hard the process is. And I blindly went and bought the machine. You're saying like, oh, so like what made you go start a juice business? No, that wasn't the thought.
You weren't trying to start a business.
Zero, nothing. I just wanted to have closer access to it so that I can enhance my lifestyle. When it came and my father asked me how much it was, and I told him the price, he told me, "Are you crazy? You better be starting a business with this machine." That was the first time I ever thought about starting my business. That's it, just like that. And it's crazy because you like, no, he's my daddy. You would think like in one ear, out the other sort of thing, but like, I don't know why it felt so serious. I didn't have to take him seriously, and I'm sure he didn't think anything of his comment either.
It sounds like it's
yeah,
joking.
like he goes, "Are you kidding? Like, you better be like, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And what I ended up doing was getting these little bottles, and they were sample 4-ounce shot bottles, and I would make different blends with different names that I would come up with, and make packages and drop them off to people and ask them to give me their feedback. And that's really how it started. And I really didn't think anything more of it at the time. Once I found, let's say, a set 8 that we loved, that people loved, that they wanted, I started getting customers. I started an Instagram. I had no idea what I was doing. To come up with a name, I think, is one of the hardest things of any business whatsoever, is to try and come up with a name. I came up with 18 million of them, and then they were all taken, you know? You go to trademark it and you can't. Ultimately, I don't really know. I think Juice Theory ended up working because maybe we had sent our lawyer to two different ones and he told us that one wasn't under trademark, and so we went with it. Like, really, so silly.
And all you're doing is dropping this off to people's houses.
That's it. I'm all over the place, not just like, oh, cute, I'm in the Little Jersey area. No, I was driving to Manalapan, to Freehold, to Little Silver, Monmouth Beach. I was everywhere.
How are they finding you?
Word of mouth. And plus, I wasn't only going to gyms here. Speaking to people, I went to gym, I went to someone's nutritionist class. You know, I went out. I went anywhere that people would take me.
You were networking with people that were teaching classes?
Yeah. Or gyms, yeah, like Gold's Gym. I was there all the time. I would go to people's pop-ups and I would just give out samples. As I was growing so passionately about the health and lifestyle and started doing the juices, we got back together and he was right there beside me, making juices with me and supporting me and doing all my juice deliveries for me and doing all of the physical labor, in a sense, of the heavy lifting and stuff like that.
So now you're going around to towns miles away.
And finally my mother said, get the hell out of my house. You can't do this. You cannot do this here anymore. You're taking over my gorgeous house. You need to get out. So I went looking for a place. Luckily, I found a place in Wanamasa. The landlord was awesome until I found out by the town when I took the rental that I couldn't be closed for business. It was a retail spot and I needed to, at some point, have my doors open. I was using it specifically just for production.
So you find this place in Wanamasa because your mom kicks you out of the kitchen, and now you just need a manufacturing facility, but then you find out that it needs to be retail. So you, by law, need to open up a store. I need to pay my
rent and my utilities and all the other things that came along with it, yeah.
So now you open up a store by mistake.
By mistake. Am I really only just going to sell juice? How am I gonna smoothies? But the big thing was acai bowls, and that was only happening in the city. Juice Generation was doing it at the time. And I remember it was the day before I opened for like summer business. And I said, oh, I'm gonna make acai bowls, but how do you make acai bowls? So again, everything that I was doing was made from scratch. My almond milk that I was doing was from scratch. I wasn't buying store-bought almond milk. I was sitting there soaking the almonds with the dates and grinding it and squeezing it. And it was intense. And so I made some version of an acai bowl and I tasted it and I'm like, all right, this is good. I made it 2 times. The night before I opened, and then for the rest of the summer I had a line out the door. Really, literally a line wrapping around out the door. There was nobody doing acai bowls. There was no pliables. There was none of that yet. I got into the wrong business, by the way. There's only so much I can rely on these customers to keep buying juice. And at some point you plateau. And the only way to change that was to offer food. That's when the business changed from just being juice focused to lifestyle focused. We had so many people telling us, can't you move closer? Why don't you guys find a bigger place, whatever it was. And we found Brighton Avenue and we went with it.
And you've been there ever since.
Yeah, I have a full set of staff. I have a full line of food, from breakfast treats to desserts to hot food, everything. Salads, options, multiple salads, create your own, all of it. A full stock of refrigerator, full service also. Like it was crazy, the growth, how quickly. And sometimes it comes like that. So I had no idea what I was getting into.
All you wanted to do was make juices.
All I wanted to do, yeah. All I wanted to do was to see people drink juice.
It's all you cared about.
All I cared about. It still was then, because I had given birth and my mother fully took over that restaurant that summer. I had a newborn. I was barely in the store. She really ran it. Like, she paved the way for me.
You're fully vegan.
I myself am, yes.
And the store is.
And so is the store.
And you wanted to keep it that way, even though business could have been better.
Yeah, business could still be. It could be, I could triple my business behind if I just said, oh, I'm gonna just offer eggs. If I just offered eggs right now, it would change my whole business. But I won't do it. Otherwise, I'm not gonna show up to work. That's what happens.
Because it's
I'll
not.
check out.
Yeah.
Well, that's honestly what happened in Brooklyn. We opened up a second store, and it was, my parents wanted to go gung-ho on it, and I was supportive of it, of course. It was amazing. I was totally for it. Listen, Brooklyn's much tougher, rent's more expensive, all of it. I would have just closed it, and they didn't want to, and it's not vegan, and it's still called the juice theory. More or less, people think it's the same, and essentially it is the same, except I don't offer eggs and fish. She doesn't offer dairy. Like, I wouldn't let her. Like, and I don't even have the business anymore. Like, I gave them
So
that restaurant.
you have nothing to do
I
with
told them,
that.
if they think about adding a cheese item in the store, then I'm going to go and physically take the sign off of the store. And there would be zero association in any capacity. So, yeah.
I've never heard of somebody that has a business that has nothing to do with making money.
It's really so bold of you to say that. It's really, you know, my father hates me. Like, really he does. He really hates me. But he doesn't understand me, and I just tell him, this is what I want.
Yeah.
I won't do it any other way. You know,
a successful business that has nothing to do with being financially successful is very rare.
Listen, I'm not saying that the business doesn't make money,
No, it
right?
makes
Clearly,
money.
it makes money
Yeah.
to stay in business, but I'm saying.
But you don't care about that.
No, I really don't. I'm not in any sort of financially comfortable situation. My kids' tuition's expensive, and I don't have a house, and you know, I'm not living the good life in that sense, but I am, you know, mentally and physically.
What if your priority was to make money?
If my priority was to make money, I wouldn't be organic. That would be it. I wouldn't be organic. I buy almonds that are organic that are $50, and I buy almonds that are not organic for $25. There's a huge difference there. I really hold sacred for the juice theory to stand for something. And my father would always say to me, not to put me down, but he would just say like, do me a favor, like relax. Like, you're not Whole Foods, you know, like just like relax. Oh, your integrity, like do me, relax. You need to make money. Like he really would. He would always like try and make me sound like, stop putting yourself on such a high pedestal. But the truth is, it's really for my own personal self. It's not for anybody else, and it's my name that goes on it, and I care about it. And if I'm going to wake up every day and I'm going to work on it, I believe that the juice theory needs to stand for something. If I cave in, then I become like everybody else, and then I become a dime a dozen. Then I'm in a chicken race. I made my own lane. I'm vegan. I'm organic, and I want to stay in my lane.
What advice would you give someone who's starting a business?
If you're thinking about opening up a restaurant, if you're thinking about getting a new location, you should talk about it with people, because you never know what's going to happen. Because the more you talk about it, the more you bring it into life, the more it becomes real. The more you talk about it, the more you visualize it. What does it look like? What is it going to feel like? You talk about it all the time. You know, I'm looking for a manager. Really, you're looking for a manager? What type of manager? You don't know. I don't know. I'm looking for a manager that has experience.
It gets you to think, right.
Oh, I think I know someone. I'm going to reach out, and all of a sudden it becomes reality. It becomes your reality. So I definitely feel like that's very true with anybody who wants to start a new business. Talk about it. Don't be scared to talk about it.